Namaste. Privet. Ni hao. ¿Cómo te digo? ¿Cómo está? Borako. Assalamu alaikum. What's up, bro? You know, it's quite interesting how mankind is, how human beings are, how we, the human, how we are. It's quite interesting. Now, I was, I'm always searching the internet, and I like to see what's going on in the world. So I have a concern here. Let me say something that I'm concerned. If you know anything, if you know anything about history, modern history, American history, then you may be able to follow me in a minute when I really get to the crust of what I'm really getting ready to say. There in 1919, there were racial riots. 1919, that was many years ago. That was over 100 years ago, 1919 to 2019. We were talking, boy, time really flies. But in 1919, I'm talking U.S. history now, um, they had what they call uh, the Red Summers. Well, anyway, during this period, 1919 in American history, they were having racial riots. And what was happening was you had the whites um, against the blacks, and basically the whites were winning. Um, it was after World War One. We're gonna see World War One, World War Two, and then we're gonna talk about World War Three. But let's right now we're talking about a little bit after World War One, after it had ended. It ended at about 1919, and the soldiers came back to America. You know, black soldiers went to Europe to fight for the Americans, even though we were, mistreated in our own country. But when these black soldiers came back, they were not as afraid as they were prior to their going to war. So when they go to war and they go out and kill men and see people die, and then when they come back to their homeland, no, they're men. So you just can't just push them around like you would normally do. So that was issues when these black soldiers came back from World War One. And then they had what they called the summer of the Red Summer of 1919, where white people in America, they were just totally in the process of eliminating black people. It's right after World War One, and we had the great riots. These riots were actually um, started by white people, white men, and they were rebelling against black people. It was just the Ku Klux Klan and all in their game. The whole thing was just to keep the black man down, and they were burning his properties, and it was a mess. This was 1919, and it was after World War One. But then after 1919, they had what they call I'm talking about the U.S. now. They had what they call the Roaring Twenties, where everybody was happy and everybody was joyful. They were dancing all kind of dances, and the black people were were very popular in art, especially in New York City, and Harlem. And blacks were like cliche, blacks were black Americans are very popular, but they were popular in entertainment, art, singing, dancing. And what the historians did was they called this period in America's history. It was in the 20s. It was right prior to World War II. But what happens in the Roaring Twenties? People were having a good time, partying, and blacks were getting, they were doing pretty good, especially in entertainment. And I'm speaking basically of black Americans. Of course, during this period of in the 20s, and they call this period in America, they call it the Harlem Renaissance. And it was all about art, creativity, and this creative efforts were done by black Americans. And then during this period, they call it the Roaring Twenties, when there was not too much racialism going in America. The, there was a man in Germany, Adolf Hitler. He had a plan. He had a plan. His plan was to kill all the Jews, those who claim or those who practice Judaism. Hitler's plan was to kill all the Jews. But his plan was a plan to unite the white Germans in Germany. So he followed through on his plan, and he killed many, many Jews. And then World War II began. And Hitler, he had done a lot of damage, but he had killed a lot of Jews too. You know, it's something about mankind and how God designs us. I'm not talking about the Roaring Twenties. I'm talking about the Harlem Renaissance. That's what they called it. They called it the Harlem Renaissance. Well, black people in America, they were being noticed, and they were artists, singers, dancers, creators. And then came World War II. Now, I'm still searching the internet. I'm still searching the internet. And at this very moment, do you know that the Western powers are in contemplations about World War III. World War III. And everyone, each side knows, each side knows that if there were a nuclear war, each side knows that millions of human beings will be killed. Millions. Each side knows this. Each side knows this. So Biden sends nuclear weapons to Israel. Putin says that if they keep pushing him, that he's going to use his nuclear weapons. Men, mankind, men, mankind. Can't these guys see that it's, can they say, why is it necessary? Why is it necessary for me to just kill all of those people? In their minds, why is it they can't see that it is a travesty to kill so many human beings? But do you know, these guys, knowing that what a nuclear war would do, they are all pursuing that course. Again, I was searching the internet, and the American strategists, they have already said, the American strategists, I don't know what they're saying in Russian, but I know what they're saying in American. They are already anticipating and expect. Look at this. Oh, these are the states. These are the states where the people are, millions of people. They say, oh, we gotta, those who control, those who run the earth, those who are in charge of government, they have said, oh, we are going to lose all the people in Alabama. Oh, we're going to lose all the people in uh, South Dakota. Oh, we're going to lose everyone in New York. Oh, we're going to lose everyone in Boston. Oh, millions are going to die in Houston. Do you see what I'm, can you understand what I'm saying here? We have men, flesh and blood, like ourselves, at this very moment. They are making plans as to how many millions, how many millions of their countrymen are going to die in the nuclear holocaust. They're planning it today. They know that, oh, we got to sacrifice New York City, we got to sacrifice Houston, we got to sacrifice Chicago. Look at these guys. Look at these men, flesh and blood like ourselves. Look at the power that they have over over all of our souls, millions would die. These guys, they sit back. Uh, I guess they already know where they're going to be. They got their underground tunnels. They got their underground shelters. They know where to go, and they're going to sit back and destroy the world, knowing knowing that when they start dropping those bombs, shooting those missiles, whether it comes from the ocean or the sky or outer space, millions of human souls will die. And these are men like ourselves. I mean, in the body, but maybe not in the mind. But men like ourselves who sit back and plan to wipe out civilization. And it is not an impossibility. It is a major possibility given that mankind is given the power to do these things. He will do these things. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do in a world where those who lead this world, those who control this world, each of us is just collateral damage. Can't these guys sit down and talk? I mean, can't they sit down and talk? Why is it so necessary that so many human souls have to die because of two or three human souls who sit and stand in their temples and sit on their thrones? And all that we are, is collateral damage. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting how God designs the world. It is so interesting how God designs the world. This is Musa, Matt Meacham Jr., signing off on Earth.